were telling me with huge enthusiasm about uh, something called fiduciary in all things, fiat. Now, how did that's another step along the way, isn't it? How did that come out of
Yeah.
life planning?
Well, I'm well beyond retirement age, just as you might be as well, Charles. And but I was coming near it and around it and the great what they call the Great Recession, the banking crisis of 2008 2009 occurred, and I looked at what happened, and I took it personally
Mhm.
because I thought I'd worked all my life to do something to change the industry to make it a better place, the profession in particular. And here people were losing their jobs, they were losing their homes, people all over the world were impacted. And I got quite upset about it. And I thought, I haven't finished my work. I haven't finished my work in the financial world. So I went on a world tour. I got given a speaking engagement with, I think it was the chartered, not chartered financial, the CFA community. And so I went to places in Asia and I went all over the world. And I hosted what I called Golden Civilization Conversations, where I asked people everywhere I went in every country, if we got there, if we were to get to a golden civilization, what would it look like? And if people were in a lot of doubt, I'd say, hey, put it out 1,000 years if you want, or put it out 200 years. I'm going to aim for just 20, but let's, put it out so you feel comfortable with what it would look like. Tell me what it would look like. And you would love this, and your community would love this because they spoke about what their values were. They spoke about kindness and generosity. They spoke about a world of truth where truth was spoken by the large institutions. If they were in countries that were undemocratic, they spoke about wanting democracy. They wanted an end to corruption everywhere. I mean, the values that you stand for, these are everywhere in the world, and people were saying this is what we want. And I came through it at the end. So, and I took the specific values that they had come up with, and I thought COVID then hit, so I couldn't tour anymore. And I thought, what what could we? Is there something we could do really simply that would make a difference in all of these countries where we could just implement something? What would it be that would unite all of the countries? And one of the thoughts was that it had to do with my community, which of financial advisors, that all consider themselves fiduciaries to their clients, meaning they put their clients' interests ahead of their own. And I thought, well, isn't that what people all over the world were speaking to? That they want powerful forces, governments, corporations, nonprofits, always to put the people first, to always put the planet first, always put the truth first and democracy first ahead of their own self-interest. So I put that into one proposition, one single sentence legislative proposal. And I thought, let's call it fiduciary in all things, or fiat, F-I-A-T. And so that's launched me into a whole nother endeavor, which has brought me here, Charles, to London. But it's a global endeavor, and it's exciting because it's a way with one piece of legislation. I mean, the question that I might ask your community that I think would be a wonderful question to ask them is, can a single sentence piece of legislation change the world and bring in the kind of values that you have spoken to for so many years? And that's really what I think Fiat is attempting to do, to make that happen.
What
Yeah.
is this? What is the sentence, and how will it change the world?
So maybe I'll read the sentence and then I'm going to summarize it in an even simpler way. But this is the sentence that is a legislative proposal that I'm promoting in various cultures. It's very simple. It reads this, and this is from my latest book, The Three Domains of Freedom. So this book built to that. And the third domain of freedom is civilization is yours. We've just talked about each moment is yours and your life is yours. So fiduciary in all things is about civilization being ours. And so this is how it reads. A fiduciary standard of obligation is required for all institutions, corporate, nonprofit, and governmental, to place the interests of all stakeholders of truth, of humanity, democracy, and the living planet that sustains us first above their own self-interest. So let me frame it in one other, yeah, powerful, isn't it? Let me frame it in one other way that touches kind of the heart, and that is to ask again your community, our friends, to consider what it would be like if every institution they encountered throughout their life was throughout their day was trustworthy and humane in everything they did. How would that feel to you? And how would your life change? And I think that's the world I'm aiming at. I think that's a world that now we've got one Earth that we all, as humanity, we can all kind of connect around one Earth for the first time in humanity's history. And I think it's time for us to put together a standard like that. Democracy has been one element of that, but I think it's time for us as humanity to put together the standard we believe in and have it be a universal standard that our children, our grandchildren, and generations to follow can live in. Yeah.
It resonates so powerfully, really, with what we're trying to do. All the people involved with World Values Day in the UK, the UK Values Alliance, all the values networks and organisations I'm involved with and those connected with. Really, the perception is so similar to this. We too have seen that, people have these wonderful values. People on the whole have very good positive values, humane values, pro-social values, if you like. And most people have that, and yet we live in a world where those values aren't being expressed. And so the message of World Values Day is all about, go back to those values, think about those values and put them into action, because that's what we're not doing. Forget about all the obstacles there. We have to change it. We are the people who are not doing it. And if our governments and our advisors aren't doing it, then it's up to us to demand they should.
That's right.
And, we have that power. We have the power to require everyone to put their values into action. And it just chimes so much, doesn't it, with that fiduciary in all things appeal. Yeah. So how is this fiduciary in all things going forward, George? Because I know you're taking some practical steps now to put that into action.
So there are a number of ways. The first thing I would say is just go to the website fiduciaryinallthings.com, and you'll find 3, 4, 5 different ways that just an ordinary person can make a difference by supporting it as a piece of legislation, by pledging something, and you get to write something about it and say what you think, so that you're communicating with other people around the world about it as well. But there are logos that you can put on your site as well. I don't know if you can see this Earth there.
We'll put the website link on this interview when we publish it, right, and give people that information.
And there are I have a format for kitchen table conversations, so that you're actually spreading it with your family, with your community. We have logos you can put on, and there's a steering committee that I'm sure will begin to break into multiple steering committees, attempting to make this happen in different communities, in different venues. Right now, there's a big event being planned in Boston, which was, where I spent a lot of my time. I'm very excited about it. That's just dedicated to fiduciary in all things, and bringing people from academics and businesses and nonprofits, all together to look at how can this one community begin to make a difference in different ways. And the reason that I'm here in the UK is because actually the UK government, believe it or not, Charles, they gave me a visa as an innovator founder to launch a startup bringing fiat into businesses as a productivity tool, as a way to launch much higher productivity in businesses. And the single statistic, there are many statistics for this, but the single statistic that kind of you're stunned by is that inspired workers, if they're really inspired, and we're inspired by values, so inspired workers are 125% more productive than just satisfied workers. 125%. So for businesses, it means that you can be much more profitable. It means that you can, by building more listening in and more mission-driven purpose in, you're building a sustainability into organizational structures that is something that could move forward in fabulous ways. But you're also helping your bottom line, yeah, in a terrific way.